Hi everyone. We are going to move towards AWS now. Previous to my videos were on Azure, but now we are actually moving to AWS and also GCP. As a advocate, I am required to actually work on all the cloud platforms. So I have a few, you can say, hacks to come across. Set up AWS, set up GCPs within 20 minutes so that I don't spend too much time on the setup rather than the actual work on the workloads that I have to manage. This video is not that long. It will be like around 30, 40 minutes. It's because I'll be explaining theory as well as practical. You will have a Linux machine which I'll be spinning up. And from that Linux machine, I'll be connecting to my AWS account. And I'm going to spin up like four services: EC2, VPC, uh, EKS, and also IAMs, which I need. So let's get started. In this video, you have your favorites. Then I'm going to create an EKS account as well. EKS admin user group. This user group will be accessible via on-premises server or your on-premises PC to your AWS account. You have an EKS cluster as well, which I'm going to spin up, and that is with the help of EKS control. Apart from that, you're going to explore the cluster. Look at its monitoring, look at its networking, look at the instances, the number of nodes, the namespaces that are there. All of this will be shown to you live. And also in my blogs, I'm going to give the help documents and links from which I prepared this. Within 20 minutes, within 15 minutes, we can actually set up our accounts and move forward rather than spending half a day or one day on this setup. So let's move forward. As you know, VPC is virtual private cloud, includes subnets, VNets. It includes peerings, internal IP addresses, domain names, internal domain names. So the subpart of EC2 you can say is VPC. You have EC2. EC2 is nothing but your instances, virtual cloud, virtual machines, as you call them in Microsoft. AWS has much more capabilities here. You can have much more memory options. But yeah, too much of information is also bad. So actually, you have to move towards the CLI to compute and spin up your machines rather than go and doing it on the cloud. Rather than doing it on the web. So that is EC2 for you. It also contains load balancers, network address translations. It has many proxies as well. You have VNets are called as proxies there. So those you can spin it up there. And yes, the hero of the show is Kubernetes. I'll be spinning up like three instances, which will be across two load balancers, say one or two namespaces, and that will be the basic setup. We can actually scale it up to a standard or premium version later as well. Identity access management, definitely you need that. You will have to actually set up your link your AWS cloud watch or cloud account with your with your on-premises CLI, so that you can actually spin up and use a terminal to connect to and work with your workloads. Few commands to keep in mind. You have to set up, these are the prerequisites. You have kubectl, that is kube control. You have a Azure CLI. You have the AWS CLI, and you have the EKS control as well. These things have to be set up in your server or your local PC where you're actually working on. The commands that you need to use is snap install kubectl classic. Before that, you have to actually set up, see if your Linux version is compatible with that or not. I will be showing that live in this video, how you're going to check with that and then move towards these commands. Not much time this takes. It takes less than 2 minutes to actually install them. You have AWS CLI also set up. EKS control has a little bit complicated installation. That's the reason I made this video. You actually have to have more hands-on on the documentation. But having said that, I've given you a few links, and I'm going to show you a few techniques which you can override that and actually move faster instead of actually going through every single detail of each and every documentation. And yes, the live demo. I'm going to proceed with the live demo now on my Linux system, switching to Linux. And yes, welcome to AWS with Kubernetes.
Coming back to the agenda, let us start with kubectl. Uh, Controller kubectl is to manage Kubernetes clusters. You can directly jump to commands, but I would prefer we actually go through documentation for this one. You have, let's search for, say, install. Okay, I already have that in my searches. Install and set up kubectl on Linux. Link here. Says install and set up kubectl on Linux. As you can see, we have all the setups here. How to go about them using a package, using a native package. We have also the shortest version, the Snap, and Snap install kubectl classic. So let's do that in our terminal. Snap install kubectl classic. Password. Yeah, as you can see, we have here the success that is 1.271 of kubectl has been installed. So let us see if this works. kubectl. Yes, we have troubleshooting, we have commands, we have create and expose, set, reset, write. So yeah, not much, but this is all we need to do to install kubectl into Linux. Okay, let's start with installing AWS CLI into our Linux systems. I'm going to go to my terminal now. Okay, as you see, I can have some already have some commands here. There is a command that is lsp release -a, which actually tells you the packages of the distro available. As of now, I have the distro that is there are no LSP modules as such, but the distro is Lunar, and you have Ubuntu 23.04. That's the Ubuntu version. I would require something else as also like my CPU name, my CPU type. My CPU type is x86-64. All this information is available in AWS documentation. So let me just pull that up. Let's type AWS CLI Linux install. So it's a Google search I'm doing now. Yeah, as you can see, I got some results here. It's taking some time. Just pull this video off. Yeah, as you can see, I just opened the first link. It's called installing Ability Linux with AWS CLI. I'm looking for Linux. Let me look at Linux here. Install it activate on Linux. So either my Linux can be x86 or it can be Linux ARM. As of now, it is x86. You have a detailed way to unzip a package and install it. You also have sudo install or previous from, say, AWS folders to your local bins. But we have a short method. Any of these can be used. This is appropriate. This This is the latest one which uses with Python. So this also reduces notifications. But having said that, let's do make life simpler. Let's use Snap. Have Snap install AWS CLI. I'm going to enter my password, system admin password. Okay, this is something that I have to use classic distribution of Snap. Yep, we have the classic version for that, so let us do that. Python classic, my password again. And as you can see, installation has started. It's going. It looks slow, but it's going. Yeah, here this is installed. So let's see if everything works. AWS help should actually give me a help page. Yep. As you can see, we have help content, region, CA bundles, CA timeout, all of them, Cloud9. We have everything here. This module will be just looking at IAM and EC2 along with Kubernetes. So let's move out of this. Say Control Q or Shift Q. Yes, we're out. And yeah, we have AWS CLI installed on Linux. EKS now. It's something called as EKS control or EKS it's basically to have you have it, Amazon EKS, Azure EKS. So Kubernetes service by Amazon basically. We need to install EKS first, EKS control. We go to the official documentation which I have already opened. There are quite a few commands here. I would suggest we actually go to this installation, GitHub installation, which opens here. Scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. We are running some problems. Let's execute commands line by line now. Okay, so it seems Houston we had a problem, but we resolved it. Line by line, one by one, we need to run this. I have jumped a few steps. So basically, we need to actually go to installing or updating eksctl, Google search official documentation by AWS. Next, we actually go to the part where actually it says installation with GitHub, which opens this link. Installation with GitHub, which opens this link. And on our terminal, line by line, just run these instructions. That is for Unix. Platform search, we have to have 64 bits, so only 64 makes sense. Then line by line run these commands. We are basically taking this out from the GitHub, installing it in our local system. That is what these commands are doing. And checksum also can be validated since we have to actually look at Linux compatibility for that. And this is where magic happens. From the temporary folder, you move into your local bin. It asks for your password, and then you just check eksctl. There you go. EKS is installed. EKS controller has been installed into the Linux system now. We have completed prerequisites 1, 2, and 3. AWS free account is set up already. So now we're going to go ahead and favorite our services and create an EKS admin user group. So let's get started. I have clicked on services earlier. I have basically searched my favorites and added them. I am Elastic Kubernetes PC. Let me click on IAM now. Make it scroll down. Say create group. As you can see, the group has got created. That is EKS admin. When you click on EKS admin now, unique permissions available for a particular user. Now we are looking at user two permissions. We seem to have none. Let us go to add permissions, attach policy, like 842 policies here. We search for our CRUD operation master policy of the name administrator access. Filtering this out. Select this policy, add permissions. So as you can see, one permission has been added. Now let's go back to EKS admin. As you can see, there are no users in the account, so let me click on add users again. User details, let me give EKS RA as the username. Click on next. This. Click next. Oh, I need to add tags for this person. Let me have tags. So you have like project, This is AWS. Um, let me just- I am actually concerned with only this parameter here. Okay, so I have the ARN name here, I have my account name here, all that remains is a cluster in the region. I mean, not everybody and anybody can be able to, from a CLI, be able to access your account and actually create clusters and networks here. So we need to secure that as well. I need to have a key for that. Having said that, let's go down to our user permissions. Okay, I think I jumped few steps here. Let's go back. I guess are the IDs. We have to click on create access key from command line. Understand our recommendation. Click on next. Description tag, we give it the same value which I gave earlier tag, AWS run, create access key. Shows that I can download the CSV. I'm not allowed to share this key with anyone. Now that we have completed our AWS activities, let me move on to the next topic. So favorites is complete, created EKS admin user group is complete. Now let's start with link your PC to your AWS account. There's configure. Okay, since the logging operation is not happening, I'll have to actually hide this window. But having said that, you have this is already defined. You have the access key, then you get the access key and the access key ID, then you get the access key, then you get the region. The region and region here I've given as AP South 2, that is Hyderabad, which is closer to Bangalore where I'm at. And then you get this encryption or formatter key, which is left as blank, and then you give enter. Config and credentials. Credentials have file that is actually having your credentials what you have stored here. Let's look at the config files. Say cat AWS /config. So we'll start executing the dot, let's start getting config. We have set this out as a default. And yeah, to see that you actually worked, yeah, AWS credentials are working here. Say AWS AI, IAM get user. So as you can see, I have my user actually registered here in my AWS CLI. So we are good to go. We have we have finished with the link PC to your EKS account. Now we move on to EKS cluster using EKS control, that is eksctl. This is basic infrastructure as code using YAML. I already have a YAML file which I'm going to share later on this channel and below in the description. We have the we have a API version, we have the kind. I've named my metadata as RE-EKS. The region is US East 1. And what this is the node groups. I have a capacity of 3 nodes, the basic high availability 3 nodes, no, like an availability zone. And there's a reason behind me using M5 large. That's because we have something here. Total 62 memory is just 8 GB and basic bandwidth, not much of a load. So let's finish this up with our commands. I go into my terminal. I say eksctl create cluster from file cluster.yaml. As you can see, creation is in progress. This will take at least around 30 minutes. So let us wait until this is completed. I'll just forward, I'll pause the video for now. Okay, now as you can see, EKS cluster is ready for the US East region. We have AWS is ready. AWS is ready in AWS Console. US East 1 region. So yes, this module is complete. I can imagine that too has last but our one item has been completed. Module of this exercise, we're exploring the AWS instance. As you can see, you have the namespace, you have the cluster name, and you have the info here. All of them are in the US East Coast 1. Let's go inside and see what's here. But curiosity, I actually have to copy this service endpoint See what happens if I paste it and run the same point. Am I able to access this or not? Privacy error. Let's go see what I should not be able to access my cluster through API call. This is forbidden is a failure. If you option one cannot get the path. A few resources are logging we have to actually adhere to. Let us look at networking. As you can see, we have the VPC information here. We have the subnets. With each of the subnets actually contains IP addresses as well. We have the current service range. We have like additional security groups. The important thing to note is that if we go inside any of the subnets, as you can see, I've gone inside the subnet. I can actually see the IP address. This will correspond to one of the nodes of the basic get nodes in kubectl. I will be able to see this. And that will validate which regulator is running even in the CLI as well as in the console. So having said that, let me move towards out of networking. We came to logging. No more logging is kept off. We have no purpose of just logging as of now, so it's okay. Let's have a look at the EC2 instances. Definitely them and go inside that. Okay, see the instances as you can see we have three instances. One elastic IP, all the hosts, six the security groups, three volumes, service centers, great. All the zones are active, and that's pretty much it. So we see two along with kubectl, everything is positive. And yes, we have moved to the end of this module.